Hello, I'm Graham. I'm a reader in training and I'd like to welcome you to St Peter's Church here in Portishead. This church is about to celebrate 700 years of existence, so it's exciting to be here today. Today's Gospel reading got me thinking about my DIY disasters. Times when you read something online or watch a programme that makes building or baking, whatever it might be, seem easy. I can do that, surely. Well, it's not always as easy as it looks, is it? Let's hear some advice from Jesus himself in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 7, verses 21 to 27. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only one who does the will of my Father in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and do many deeds of power in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Go away from me, you evildoers. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. Now, while it's true that we learn by our mistakes, I know that some of mine could have been avoided if I'd taken a bit more time to prepare myself first. And I suggest that that's what Jesus was saying to the crowd of followers he was preaching to as he came towards the end of what is known as the Sermon on the Mount. The wise man builds his house upon a rock, Jesus says. And that got me thinking of a lighthouse. Now, this is not one I prepared earlier, and no, I've never attempted to build one. They're found in some pretty inhospitable places, because that's where they're needed to warn seafarers of danger. It can't be easy to build a lighthouse on that uneven, inaccessible rock, with the tide coming in and out, and all that appalling weather. But once built, however, it'll be fit for purpose. Wouldn't it be easier to build it on flat ground, a bit further inland? Digging for the foundations on the beach would be a lot easier, and we'd get it done quicker. But of course, that would defeat the object and would be of little use. It may look like a perfectly good lighthouse, but then when that massive storm hits, no seafarers will see its light, and the sea will move the sand around its foundations, and it will come crashing to the ground. Or, as Jesus puts it, great will be its fall. Building our own house of faith on firm foundations by listening, learning, and understanding God's message will enable us to put our faith into action. That firm foundation of faith, living a life that reflects all that Jesus has taught us, will put us in a position to weather life's storms as they arise. As Christians, we're called into a relationship with God. through his teachings in the Bible, by prayer and regular worship. So this calls for a certain amount of self-discipline, but we're not talking about a monastic type life of self-denial here. There's a deep-seated joy in having Jesus as the centre of our lives. Jesus shows us how to live out our faith by praying to the Father and obeying his commands. He heals the sick and befriends the outcasts and treats everyone with an equal amount of love, care and compassion. What a wonderful example this is for us all. Particularly today, when all we seem to hear about is division, strife, racial inequality, and the list just goes on and on. There's much to be joyful about in our world, despite what we read in the news. So in the week ahead, let's all look for ways in which we can put our faith, built on firm foundations, into action and spread a bit of that joy around. Let God's light shine through you. Amen.